everyone, and welcome back to Raw Sports Talk. This is going to be another MLB edition, and in this edition, we're going to be talking about long-term Major League Baseball contracts. And this one was kind of brought to light because of the recent deal that Mookie Betts got. And then we can talk about Manny Machado and Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, and whether or not you think that these long-term deals are actually a good solution for your team if you're a baseball fan. Now, I know that when people hear me saying that I don't think that the Mike Trout deal is going to be a good thing for the Angels, they kind of want to leap through the screen and punch me in the face. Same deal goes for this Mookie Betts deal long-term and the Manny Machado deal long-term. The only one on this list who we could say is probably going to stay with his team forever is going to be Bryce Harper, because he signed a no-trade clause in his deal. For the most part, when teams offer this contract to these guys, most of the players don't end up sticking around all that long. They end up playing a season or two and end up getting traded because the team realizes that they're not meeting the expectations that they thought that they were going to do by just adding one player, and then they end up selling off these players. And it's happened so many times in history, and everyone here knows that I'm a Yankees fan, and my team is notorious for doing shit like this, where you sign a dude who's in his late 20s, early 30s to these 10-year, 8-year contracts, and then a few years later, when he's not meeting his production, you're still paying this dude $30 million a year, and you're kicking yourself in the ass that you gave him this money. Just looking briefly over some of these recent contracts that have happened. Zach Greinke signed a 6-year, $206 million contract with the Arizona Diamondbacks. After 3 seasons of that deal, they traded him to the Astros, and that's where he plays now. David Price was another one. He signed a 7-year, $217 million deal. He played 4 years on that contract and then got traded. And now he's on the Dodgers, and now he's not playing this season because of what's going on, and he decided to opt out. Alex Rodriguez, with his very, very first deal, when the Texas Rangers gave him a 10-year, $252 million contract, he played 3 seasons under that contract and then traded him to the Yankees, where he got another 10-year contract. The Yankees were kicking themselves in the ass because for the last 3 years of his contract, he was getting paid $27 million a year to essentially ride the bench. Robinson Cano signed a 10-year, $240 million deal with the Seattle Mariners. At the time, I was pissed off that the Yankees didn't sign him because the Yankees were offering him a 7-year deal and not a 10-year deal. He went out to Seattle. We find out that he was doing steroids. And not only did they trade him back to New York, but they trade him to the Mets. And he only played 5 years of that deal. So he played half of his contract with that team. Then we could talk about guys like Matt Kemp, who signed an 8-year, $160 million contract. And then right after winning the MVP, it's like he disappeared. He's still playing baseball, but I think he played 2 years of that contract before he essentially got released. Carl Crawford is another one of these dudes. He signed a 7-year, $142 million deal with the Red Sox. And then after 2 seasons, the Red Sox traded all of those players to the Dodgers. He was one of them. Adrian Gonzalez. He was a fantastic first baseman for the San Diego Padres. He signed a 7-year, $154 million contract. He played 2 years of that contract and got traded. Jacoby Ellsbury. The Yankees paid him 7 years and $153 million. We're still paying him, and I haven't seen him play a baseball game in 3 seasons. Josh Hamilton. He signed a 5-year, $125 million contract with the Angels. Granted, he has his demons with drugs, and everyone knew this when the Angels signed him. So now his contract was the shortest of them, and they're coming back to regret it. We could even put Albert Pujols on here because the St. Louis Cardinals let him go to the Angels, and he hasn't been the same since he left the Cardinals. And he's still a great player, but now reading this list of all of these players that I've just mentioned, in your opinion, is it worth signing these guys to these big contracts because your teams end up trading them away? Unless you're the Yankees, when we offer contracts to players, once we do it, no one else decides that they want to take the players from us. We're the schmucks who take these players. Sort of like how we took Giancarlo Stanton from the Marlins right after he signed his contract. 2 years later, he's a Yankee. So I understand why a lot of people hate the Yankees because we can afford to do shit like this. But as a Yankees fan, it is utterly annoying when we get these dudes and now They're 37 years old. We're paying them $30 million. Nobody wants to trade for them. We can't release them because they're still going to get paid. I think that baseball kind of has to go away from these 10-year contracts because they're hurting the teams. I know that the players don't give a shit, and I'm very happy for the players who are signing this deal, and it is not to sound bitter. I think big picture, if you're a sports fan, if you're a baseball fan, if your team gives one of these guys these contracts, be ready to regret it at least 3 years into the deal when either he gets traded, the team cuts him, or he's just not living up to expectations. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to check out all of my other videos on my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Raw Sports Talk. Follow me on Twitter at Raw Sports Talk 1. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. I'm out.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw.